Welcome to the Grillcast, the only podcast in the world dedicated to radical centrism. I am your host, Orion, and joining me as always is Micah. What's up, buddy? It's insane in the Ukraine.
I'm doing good, my guy.
And we have a very special returning guest today. We have a soldier of fortune, our wartime correspondent, Andy the Soldier. How are you doing, my man?
Hey, what's going on? I just want to start off by saying that I am completely unqualified to talk about the geopolitics of the war in Ukraine, but I am definitely here to share my opinion on things.
Well, that hasn't stopped anyone else.
Yeah, for sure. So as our seasoned and committed wartime analyst who is currently on the scene in Ukraine right now as we're making this recording, I need you to give us a little bit of information about really, what's really happening, who's winning, who's losing, troop movements, logistic, who's gay, who's straight. Basically, just all the relevant information that you can really give us right now.
Yeah. So first of all, I've been getting most of my information from Reddit. So that's what we mean when we say on the scene from Ukraine.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
The reason we were having you on is because I thought you were like boots on the ground. You're our wartime correspondent. We pay you
analyst
very well to do this, and you're not even on the scene. What's going on, big guy?
Yeah, I went ahead and fled Ukraine. I don't want nothing to do with that. But to answer your other questions, Russia's invading. They got a couple 100,000 troops. They're pulling up. They're trying to take over the city of Kyiv. The Ukrainians are mounting a pretty fierce resistance. It's actually very inspiring. I do want to say that their president, Volodymyr Zelensky, is an absolute Chad, and I would follow that man into the depths of hell.
Wait, the president of Ukraine is Voldemort?
It's Volodymyr.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So Russian Voldemort.
Yeah.
Ukrainian.
Now, I see a lot of stuff about this guy. Like, there's a reason that we've waited a little bit of time to do this episode, instead of everybody else doing the thing where it's like, oh, war broke out. I'm now immediately an expert on the geopolitics of Ukraine. Let me go ahead and give my opinion. No, I've had a week to soak in, propaganda of both sides and apply both of those to my worldview, meeting somewhere in the middle between those two and taking that as fact and running with it.
Well, naturally.
And, one of the things about the propaganda about Zelensky is like there's the pictures of him in his little soldier uniform LARPing and being like, I'm going to be on the front lines, bro. And then a bunch of fat chicks on Twitter are like, oh, I would so fuck him. And it's, I don't know, it kind of puts me off. Why do you think this guy is such a Chad and not just like a guy who's doing propaganda?
Well, so a couple of things to unpack here. So naturally, like the true centrists that we are, we don't want to jump into taking a side or to having any strong opinions. There are some people that would say that neutrality is for cowards. I would disagree with that without any real way to refute that. But Volodymyr Zelensky, honestly, man, he just looks good. I'm not gay, but honestly, dude,
I'm not gay either.
Like, you look at that guy.
I'm also not gay.
You see him in his camo. You see him giving his inspiring speeches, posting them online. I just love him.
Yeah, he's 5'7", right?
That's
the guy you're gonna get behind.
I was gonna comment on that when you were like, all these fat women would fuck him. I'm like, no, they wouldn't. He's 5'7".
Well, they say they would, but then they would show up and be like, wow, you kind of catfished me, didn't you, Zelensky?
A little
I thought
bit.
You were like this big man.
Maybe this war is justified.
We did offer to evacuate him out of the country, and he said no. So,
which I can respect. That is a little bit Chad.
Yeah, he's not like when the Capitol riots happened, like hiding under his desk, like, "Oh, help me, get me out of here, please." Yeah, no, but as far as what side to take throughout this whole thing, as a radical centrist, it's really hard for me to pick which side I like better. There's a lot of good things going for both of them.
Mhm.
And I've come to the conclusion, I think yesterday, when I was filling up gas in my car and it was like $4 a fucking gallon. I'm like, huh, you know what? I don't think I actually care who wins. I just want this to be over as soon as possible so that my gas is cheaper.
That's an
I agree.
incredibly like respectable opinion.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, given that I filled up my gas tank today and I wanted to die inside a little bit.
Dude,
Uh,
it's hard. It's fucking hard. You look at it and you just see your wallet draining, and I'm like, damn you, Ukrainians and Russians, fuckers.
It's like you went to work and you made money, and then you go on your way home, you stop for gas and you fill up your car, and it's like you hit the rewind button on the entire day, but it's still the end of the day.
It's because the Ukrainians are like they're hoarding all the gas to make Molotov cocktails and shit. It's really selfish, honestly. Like my understanding of geopolitics is that's why gas prices are going up so much. What do you think about that, Andy?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the United States should get back to being energy independent. If we had the Keystone pipeline and we were doing our own drilling, we wouldn't have this problem right now. We wouldn't have been spending or buying 500,000 barrels of Russian oil every single day. But
Exactly. Fracking?
that's like a whole nother conversation, though.
Fracking, I say frack yes to that. Let's fucking get that oil out of the ground, baby. Let's get those dead
You
dinosaurs out and in my gas tank for fucking pennies on the dollar. That's what I
we're
want. Fuck.
we're absolutely fucked if Biden decides to like stop taking Russian oil. Like we're absolutely fucked.
We're already fucked.
Yeah, but we'll be extra fucked.
Another thing that annoys me about this whole situation are the people that are like, oh, nuclear war, we're gonna have a nuclear war. Oh, and it's like, no, we're fucking not, dude. Nothing cool ever happens. You just want nuclear war
Nothing
because
cool ever happened.
everyone would be deformed and ugly like you if that happened. Fuck. We all know it's not gonna fucking happen. And
Yeah,
then
what's so bad about nuclear holocaust? Like honestly, what's the worst part about that? Are you going to have to deal with the consequences of that? No, not
No,
really.
we all play Fallout, and we all can agree that New Vegas and Fallout 3 were based games. Are you trying to tell me that, like, you couldn't make it through that? Do you know how many hours I've logged into that game? I have so many survival skills.
Well, I will say this, backing up a little bit. So to play devil's advocate for Russia, right? And having listened
Hell yeah.
to Russian propaganda, like a true centrist. So you have to look at it through the lens of Vladimir Putin. So Ukraine used to be part of the Soviet Union. They share very deep historical and cultural ties that date back to the beginning of time, effectively, right? So Ukraine ousted its pro-Russian government back in 2014, and then there was the Crimea annexation, which a lot of people in Crimea and then in the Donbass region in eastern Ukraine support. So then they install this new government that favors the West because that's what the people wanted, right? But Ukraine shares a border with Russia. So imagine if there was this Russian military influence in Mexico, and Mexico was talking about joining, some version of the Warsaw Pact if that still existed, right? And they were
Hitler.
right on our
Andy,
border, and you know what I mean?
Hitler.
Andy, I gotta stop you there. Actually, what's happening, and because I've done a lot of research on this, I'm very well learned. I've went from being a expert on immunology to now being an expert in geopolitics over the last couple weeks.
So
And
has the rest of
actually,
Twitter.
it's just Putin's doing a fascism. He's doing a heckin' fascism. He's basically Voldemort, and we need to go
And
stop
Hitler.
him before he gets all the Infinity Stones and kills us all.
Sounds a little bit to me like you're just blaming the victim here.
A little bit. No, I'm just.
Hey, did you see how Ukraine was dressed?
Are you trying to say that NATO is bad?
No, I'm not. I'm just presenting the other side of the argument, like a true centrist. So now let me present our side of the argument. So the Russian propaganda is pretty wild. They're
Wildly based.
It is pretty based in lies. So
Oh,
one of the main
woo.
points and one of the main selling pieces or selling points to the Russian people is that Ukraine is effectively run by fascist Nazis that have been installed by America, and that
Hmm.
they're going to liberate Ukraine, and that the Ukrainian people have been brainwashed by America and the West, and Russia
Wait a
is going
second.
to
Wait a
help
second.
them
Hold on.
return to
Are
their
you
glory days.
hold on. Quick breakdown here. Are you telling us that this whole conflict is basically analogous to a political Facebook argument where both sides just devolve into calling each other Nazis?
Yes, I think we just had a breakthrough.
Wonderful. Another thing that annoys me about this whole situation are the people that are like, and they're generally centrists, not radical centrists or just regular lame centrists that are like, I don't think we should put boots on the ground or anything. But I think that it's great to just send them a bunch of weapons and train them and, get involved, but not really get involved. It's like the dipping your toe in the waters of war, and it just annoys me so much because like didn't we do that in Afghanistan? Didn't we just like fucking arm
No, we did
arm a
that. No,
bunch
we
of
did that in
freedom
Syria.
fighters?
No, we did that in Syria.
We've done it a lot of times, but like, it's like the end of Rambo 2, and it's like we want to thank the brave Mujahideen, but instead it's like we want to thank the brave Aziv battalion or whatever those neo-Nazi Ukrainians are. We want to thank them for fighting for freedom. It's like, don't you think that maybe this is gonna like come back and haunt us in the future? Isn't that a possibility? Shouldn't we stop being the world police and like, stop trying to put our dick into everything that moves around the world?
Well, I will
We're like
say
man
this.
sluts.
I will say this. So, everyone cares about Ukraine right now because it's the fresh new hotness. But if NATO doesn't actually take any sort of decisive military action to help them, it's just going to turn into a prolonged insurgency that people are going to slowly care about less and less as the news cycles go on.
Oh no,
Because,
that'll affect me so much.
Yeah,
right.
content, bro.
Yeah, that's true. This is good content. That's why people have moved on so fast is because everyone in the world, it doesn't matter how much of a like trucker convoy freedom guy you are or like a mask cell triple boosted. It doesn't matter how much or what you are. Everyone's sick of COVID. Nobody wants to talk about it anymore. No one wants to think about it anymore. We don't want to debate it anymore. We just want something shiny and new. We're done with that toy. That's last year's toy. It's old, it's battered, it's dirty, and I don't want to play with it anymore. I want to play with a new toy. And, the lives of Ukrainian and Russian people, that's a great toy to play with. Very fun,
Well,
very entertaining.
I think we should talk a little bit about that because you're bringing up the whole idea. There's Nazis in Ukraine, and those are a big part of the fighting forces. But we've heard some more inspiring and more wholesome Chungus stories about Ukrainians. One of which very very famous legend being created. And Wyatt, since you're on the ground, or we're at least on the ground in the last week or so in Ukraine, do you know what level of validity there is to the claims of this fighter pilot, the Ghost of Kiev, that everybody's been buzzing about?
So
Oh,
for
yes, the newest Marvel superhero. I'm sorry, go on, Andy.
So first, you called it Kiev. We should be calling it Kiev.
Don't do this. Don't do this to me. Don't.
Calling it Kiev is the Russian transliteration of the name of the city. So we should be calling it
Andy,
Kiev.
Andy, nobody fucking cares what it's called. Okay.
Hey, I care. And to
No,
answer,
nobody cares what it's called. We just want to see people dying on fucking Reddit in combat footage, and we want to jerk off to that.
to answer your question about the ghost of Kiev, I have no fucking idea. I'm just here for the memes. I hope.
You didn't
I
talk
hope
to.
he's
You
real.
didn't personally. You didn't Didn't we? We literally asked you to get an interview with them. Like we gave you at least a week's notice, so you needed to get an exclusive interview with the Ghost of Kiev.
Yeah, man, you're gonna have to get a pay cut for this one. You're really dropping the ball here. Really dropping the ball, Andy. Come on.
Hey, my bad. I was too busy swiping right on Tinder and offering false hopes of asylum
Well, luckily for
if they would come
you,
over.
and luckily for you and us, and an entire nation of interested viewers, Tucker Carlson actually was investigating the claims of this ghost of Kiev, and I believe we have footage from his segment.
Yes, we do. I want to thank Tucker, our other wartime correspondent, for actually doing his job, Andy. So here we go.
Just the other day, Kinzinger posted images on Twitter of a Ukrainian air ace called the Ghost of Kiev. He downed Russian MiGs left and right. Well, it turns out the whole thing was a hoax, but of course Adam Kinzinger had no idea because he knows nothing. Quote, the Ghost of Kiev has a name, and he has absolutely owned the Russian Air Force, he tweeted. Imagine a sitting member of Congress tweeting about a war like it's a cable news segment. He absolutely owned the Russian
Isn't
Air
it a
Force.
cable
Really?
news segment?
Get some respect. People are dying, buffoon.
Oh.
Kinzinger then attached an obviously photoshopped image of the comedian Sam Hyde sitting in the cockpit of a fighter jet. Sam Hyde, for the record, is not a Ukrainian fighter ace. He is, once again, a comedian.
You don't know that.
That was Adam Kinzinger. These are the people pushing us toward a new world war.
Yeah, wasn't Zelensky a comedian, and now he's the president of fucking Ukraine? How come Sam Hyde can't be the ghost of Kiev? Why?
Kiev.
Yeah, I just don't see why it would be that he can't do both. He's taking down those heckin' Ruskies. Okay, Mike, you brought this in. Did you have a take on it, or did you just want to watch the video? You know, when I bring in a video,
okay,
I come in with a take. What the hell is this?
Sorry, I got sidetracked. I was scrolling a little bit.
You were scrolling in the middle of our show, in the middle of our production. Okay, you fucker. But anyway, Sam Hyde bravely, he's like a Marvel superhero. He's going and killing those Ruskarinos for doing a heckin' fascism. And it's inspiring to watch. Micah, do you have a fucking take on this?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? Even if this is a hoax, right? Even if Sam Hyde isn't the ghost of Kiev, even if there is no ghost of Kiev, okay, this story has inspired hundreds of people across Ukraine who are suffering under the attack by these Russians, and have inspired them to take up arms and engage Russians in their own ways, to try to become their own ghost of Kiev. And you're seeing stories pop up all over the internet about people becoming the unsung heroes of Ukraine in this war. I mean, just to go through a few examples, one woman has prostituted herself off to 50 Russian soldiers and killed them all by giving them syphilis. She's given over 300 BJs and had sex with over 150 men, and she's being called by locals the whore of Kiev.
That just goes to show that the ghost of Kiev transcends fact or fiction. It's turned into legend, and it's inspired people all over the country.
Allow me to put on my fedora for a second and say, we're allowed to be inspired by the Bible and Jesus. We're allowed to do that, and that's fine. But we're not allowed to be inspired by other fake stories, tales of heroism.
I have a few more to go over. You've been hearing a lot, and this is another thing I didn't know if we were going to get to.
Before we move on to that, though, I want to say that I know that one's fake news for a fact because Lauren Southern, pictured here, doesn't have sex with white men. So.
Is that who that is? Shit. Okay, my bad. All right, but it's still inspiring. Okay. Well, here's another. You've heard about how all these a lot of the shit libs are having a conniption over Nigerian students not being given preference for evacuating the country. Well, one Nigerian university student turned and became a Ukrainian insurgent, and he's been pictured sabotaging Russian military installations and has been labeled the jogger of Kharkov.
Because he jogs in between military installations and sabotages them. He's quick on his feet. He never rests.
And another man pictured here, as you can see, he's an unknown, currently unnamed Ukrainian freedom fighter who has slowed down entire divisions of Russian infantry by allowing them all to sleep with his wife. And for this, he's been named the cuck of Kiev.
A true hero.
I mean, so you can see that, like, even if the ghost of Kiev isn't real, these people are real in the hearts of the Ukrainian soldiers who are fighting so valiantly, to protect their sovereignty.
You know, there have been a lot of people inspired by the brave heroism that we've seen blasted on news and the airwaves and whatnot, right? And it's not just Ukrainians who've been inspired. Reddit has been inspired to go. There's a new subreddit that popped up called the Volunteers for Ukraine, r/volunteers for Ukraine, and this is following Zelensky's call for foreigners to come and fight for him. They heard his call and they were inspired. They heard that and they said, I have nothing else going on. I'm a fucking loser. I might as well go do this, right? But I have a few good posts from the
It was great.
volunteers for
It was great. Real quick side note. I wish I had the news story pulled up, but I saw a news story the other day. There's this old like Iraq veteran, and since then he's gotten like fat as fuck, and he's got his ugly ass wife, and they're doing a news story on him. This man like just had a baby, and he's talking about like, yeah, I'm flying to Poland. I'm gonna go down to Ukraine because I'd rather it be me than than some Ukrainian kid. I'll go fight for freedom. And then the whole time I'm just thinking, bro, you just had a baby. Like what,
Yeah.
like what about your own family, bro? Like you're not a hero.
he
You're
hates his
just-
ugly wife.
like-
bro.
Ukraine, dude, but Ukraine. That's what's
Fuck
important right now.
Ukrainerinos.
Here's an
I
important
am
question.
the sheepdog.
All right, speaking of stories, here's an important question for you guys. When do we all think that the Netflix adaptation of this war, where a group of young Ukrainian women form a militia to fight Russian invaders with advanced guerrilla tactics, when do you think that's going to happen?
Girl illa power.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's coming soon. That's in the pipeline already.
Yeah,
You know,
so
I'd watch it.
So,
Fuck.
so on a real note, like what I was starting to say earlier, if NATO doesn't get more involved, like it's gonna turn into this prolonged insurgency, like in Afghanistan, or like any war in the Middle East, with
Except
the
with
exception
white
of Desert
people.
Storm, except with
Yeah,
white people.
I actually care because it's white people. This time.
because Russia will be able to take ground, but they won't be able to consolidate gains. So like the population will still be against them and will carry out these guerrilla attacks, but the Ukrainians will never be able to have that decisive conventional victory, like where they take back ground and like cause mass casualties and destroy a bunch of equipment. So like dude. That's why I say if we don't get more involved, or like if NATO doesn't get more involved and actually put troops on the ground, it's gonna be hilarious is not the right word, to watch it devolve into like people just slowly carry people carrying less and less and less and less. Yeah.
I can't believe we haven't touched on this subject yet, but I'd actually like us to take a moment of silence to stand in solidarity with the cam girls on both sides of the conflict who are being adversely affected.
Dude, I didn't even think about that. That's fucking tragic.
Like the world is truly worse off in their absence.
Oh no, now they'll have to go and get a real job like being a landlord.
Dude.
But,
oh god.
Side note, I'm getting ready to become a landlord for the first time, so I'd like some congratulations.
There we go, buddy.
Yeah,
round of applause for Soldier Andy here.
Yeah. So I own my house, but I'm gonna move out. So I'm gonna be a landlord and a rentoid at the same time. Do they cancel?
No.
Do they cancel each other out?
No. It's okay. It's okay. As long as you are a lord of land, like who cares? Nobody can shit on you for renting out because you still are a landlord. You can
okay. Guys, we need to get back to the subject at hand
Slavic
here with the
whores?
volunteers for Ukraine.
Yes.
We'll get back to that. I'm not done with this because I want to ask Andy what he thinks as a wartime correspondent about a legion of Redditors flying over. Let's say, back when you were in Afghanistan, that a horde of Redditors flies over and says, "Put me on the front lines, good sir." What do you think about these people? Does it seem foolish to you? Does it seem brave? Does it seem like a good idea, a bad idea? Would you use the help?
Is this a good
what's
activity?
going on here?
So honestly, like now that I'm thinking about it, so I would train them just enough that they could go first in the convoy, so they're the ones that get hit by the IEDs. I'd use them as cannon fodder. Be like, hey, good
Yeah.
luck, guys. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they can be of use. Just teach them how to drive, and
See,
yeah.
you know they don't know already.
Some of them, I'm sure they
They're too
don't.
scared to order a pizza on the fucking phone, but they think they're gonna go over to Ukraine.
Who would you rather utilize? Okay, these volunteer Reddit soldiers or child soldiers, like literal
Huh.
6-year-olds with AK-47s.
Well, Redditors are mentally children, right? But they're just a lot fatter. So maybe you could use them as cover, but like children are small and they can like,
Andy,
they're
Andy,
sneaky.
you've probably killed child soldiers. What do you?
Oh my god.
which would you as more of a threat?
So damn. Child soldiers, no. Like a baby, yes. We can move on.
Okay.
All right.
Oh my god.
So a few posts from this volunteers from Ukraine subreddit, because there's been a lot of people asking questions, wondering if they're ideal candidates. Before they go and do this huge undertaking, they want to make sure that they are well equipped, well prepared, and they know what they're getting into. So one I have is, can I bring weed to Ukraine? I will be arriving in Poland tomorrow and heading to Ukraine 2 days after that. I am an avid weed consumer, and I will be bringing at least an ounce or more in vacuum-sealed bags, along with some carts. Do locals accept marijuana? Should I offer some to the other fighters? How do I limit the smell of smoke? Also, I want to point out that I will bring a bubbler or bong, and I am wondering what is the best way of keeping it safe when it's in my backpack. I don't want it to break when I am fighting, as it is quite an expensive piece of glass. Cheers from Cali. Slavia Ukraini.
So, side note, did you see that Brittany Griner? I didn't know who the fuck that was because I don't watch the WNBA, because nobody does. Until it came out on the news, but Brittany Griner is apparently some WNBA player that I guess is kind of good. She got arrested in Russia like a couple days ago for having hash oil or some shit in her luggage, and she's sitting in like a Russian gulag right now.
That's the Russians doing another heckin' fascism, going and searching a brown person for no reason.
I'm fairly confident that this person will have an enjoyable experience. Okay, Ukrainians aren't like their savage brothers to the east. Okay, they would never look down upon or arrest you for fucking, being a weed smoking slob. Right? They'll accept you with open arms, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. They know it's just a plant, dude, and like you can't even really ever get addicted to it, bro. You just need to try this other strain, and then that's why it's giving you panic attacks, bro, because you're smoking the wrong strain, dude-erino. There's also somebody asking about volunteering as a registered sex offender.
I mean, that's like half the Slavic population, but go ahead and read.
That's like half the Slavic population and half the Reddit population. So that's like a real centrist handshake moment. The two buff arms shaking hands.
This guy shows up there like he kills like 6 fucking Russian child soldiers, and for his heroism, he's dubbed the Predator of Kiev.
The Predator of Kiev kills 6 child soldiers, drags one of the bodies away. Another Redditor inquires about the vaccine status of Ukrainians. Just checking in, seriously thinking of traveling out to Kiev to join the resistance. One thing I'm having issue with, though, is the very low vaccination rate of Ukrainians and potentially other freedom fighters arriving. I unfortunately have a compromised immune system and a number of comorbidities. Despite being triple vaxxed, I'm uncomfortable with the idea of being around so many unvaccinated people and potentially being taken out by friendly fire. A COVID-positive individual. I appreciate there is chaos at the moment, but are efforts being made to vax and boost the Ukrainian population? Because that's a
You know who we need? We need Mayor de Blasio to get on TV and say that, hey, it's okay. COVID doesn't matter during the war in Ukraine, the same way he said COVID doesn't matter during protests, and then it's good.
Well,
Or
I
sporting
actually
events.
don't think that that's a bad take for someone to have. because COVID, it's not like the worst thing in the world. It's not like the number one priority. So when there's other things that are more important, like saving Black lives or saving Ukrainian lives, I can see how that would stand up to facts and logic and reason.
Yeah, honestly.
Another Redditor asks, does size matter? I weigh 370 pounds and I'm 6'4". I am Canadian and take medication. I would bring enough for many months and hell would be willing to share with the med staff. Would they accept me? God, this guy is really bad at writing stuff. What a fucking retard. No wonder he's so fat. Would I be more hinder than help? I can
Yes.
stand, I can hold a gun, and I can throw a grenade. Also, any info on contacting the Ukraine embassy, blah, 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 blah. So I do think this guy could be of use because, like I said earlier, like you can hide behind these people. They're like bullet sponges. They're tanks. Like I'm playing a lot of Elden Ring right now. I'm really hoping that nuclear war doesn't break out before I finish Elden Ring. Once I'm done with that, whatever. Let's fucking go. But before that, I need to finish what I'm doing. And in that game, there's a lot of like really fat guys. They're tanks. They can take so much damage. That's what I feel like a 370-pound guy is. Would a bullet even go through someone like that, Andy?
I don't know. I don't like fat people.
No
But
one does. No one does.
but it is really funny to see them get hurt. So whether or not the bullet kills them or not, like at least it would be some comic relief, which is that kind of morale boost that you need when you're in a war zone. So watching like a fat guy like, oh fuck, I just got shot, shit himself, like yeah, that'd be really funny. So yeah. In all seriousness, that man would not be of very much use.
We should have been playing this whole time. We should have been playing like which one of these are like genuine posts and which one of these are troll accounts.
They're all genuine posts.
Okay.
They're all genuine, Micah. It's Reddit. This is serious shit going on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, come on, man.
Are you suggesting that somebody would go onto the subreddit and make jokes in such a serious time as this?
Seriously,
I mean,
like
as sad
this subreddit,
as it is, I do think that's possible.
This subreddit was set aside for people to ask their genuine questions about what they can do to support the war effort in Ukraine. And you think that somebody would actually get on there and make a mockery of that with a troll post?
Who would make jokes about the situation in Ukraine right now? Only a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
A real fucked up trash human. That's the only people in the world who would go and do something like that right now in such a serious time.
Dude, Ukraine, it's gotten so bad that they even have trans people fighting this war. Our treasured trans people. They're probably getting dead named. They're probably like not even having time to yeah, they're probably
getting sent back in a casket that says like Mike on it.
They're they already had a higher percentage of dying. So like they were at 41% before the war even started, and now they're not even allowed to leave. Yeah. So side note on that for our audience that may not know, there's some outrage on the trans spaces of the internet, that, the martial law that President Zelensky declared, all males ages 18 to 60 are not allowed to flee the country. They have to stay and fight. So male to female trans people got caught up in that, and they're not letting them leave because they're men.
Can you imagine being 60 years old and you're like about to turn 61, he passes this and you're just like, damn, 2 days from retirement. Right? Yeah, that'd fucking suck. That sucks for those people.
I mean, you'll have to remember this is the price that you have to pay to live in a forward thinking country, I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You're not willing to die. You're not willing to put your life on the line, for a country that recognizes and respects your gender identity. Then, I mean, I can't respect that, dude.
Oh, wait, but isn't the whole story that they don't respect it because like trans people have to stay if they're born male?
Well, no, it just means that they that women and men, can fight, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I
women
get
have been staying to fight, but they don't have
Yeah.
to. Men do.
You know, it's like Hillary Clinton says, women really are the biggest losers in war. They're the most affected and they're the most hurt. And this is really shown, really broadcasted when you see that
Well, I
these poor
mean,
trans women are
obviously
being forced to.
they're gonna want the most masculine people, both male and female, okay, to contribute to the war effort. I think that's fair.
It is fair.
All right.
That's true.
That's a very
High
centrist
T.
take
High
on the
T wins
situation.
war.
I feel like the rest of the Ukrainian resistance needs to pledge to at least use the correct pronouns. Otherwise,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
it's just honestly, it'd be a war crime if they didn't, and we can't stand behind war criminals, especially as the United States, because we would never do that.
Does anybody know if Adidas has come out and condemned Russia yet?
You know, I haven't. there's been a lot of people condemning Russia. Before we move on to the condemnation of Russia by our brave multinational corporations, I do want to say that there's been this meme going around amongst the rightoid sphere where they're like, "Oh, look at the Russians and their badass tanks, and they look like real men. And then look at the American military; they have trans people and gays and blacks. Oh, there's no way we would stack up to that." And they try and share it around like it's some sort of cringe, rather than the fact that like we have a very diverse population of people that have 100 times the funding of any other military, and we'd absolutely shit on anyone, no matter how like, oh yeah, this is MGTOW army. They're heckin' based Christians. It doesn't fucking matter. Your God can't save you from Hellfire missiles, bitch. He can't save you from our superior military tech. Anyone have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, sorry, I was vaping.
Nice.
Never apologize for being a vapist. Never apologize for being a vapist. You know, I really like about this show how it can go on a rant and you guys have so much to contribute to it. You guys ever hear of yes anding? Yes, and. Ever hear of that? Okay, so let's talk about these multinational
Wait,
corporations.
can you repeat what you said? I wasn't.
Fucking hate you guys. So, you know, there's a lot of cancel culture is running rampant against Russia right
So
now,
true.
right? Cancel culture is destroying Russia. The newest target, it's going too far yet again. It starts off with the official Ukraine Twitter account saying, "Hey people, let's demand at Twitter to remove at Russia from here. No place for an aggressor like Russia on Western social media platforms. They should not be allowed to use these platforms to promote their image while brutally killing the Ukrainian people at Twitter support." So the year is 2022 and war is now so gay that countries are going on Twitter and trying to heckin' ratio-eno each other. Oh,
No, dude.
Putin, you just got heckin' ratioed, bro.
I
Bet you
mean,
didn't think about that.
no,
How
it's
fucking gay.
like these countries, like we're literally at a point where like there's corporate sponsorships for different sides in a war, and like it's basically based on like market share and popularity. It's gotten to that point.
That's what frightens me, is that there are people who actually care to the point where they want corporations to fucking, you know, speak out
Hey,
in war about war.
hey,
Like-
bro. Hey, bro. How does your favorite soda feel about the Russian invasion? Hey, dude. What? You know what Kellogg's just said the other day about about Ukrainian resistance to Russian aggression?
Now, we have a few examples of this, like Coca-Cola, for example. I think you sent me
Thanks,
a
brand.
message where somebody was saying, "Hey, at Coca-Cola, my family drinks 3 cases a day. You know, they're fucking lard asses. They're disgusting." And they're like, "If you don't stop selling to Russia, we'll gladly become a Pepsi family."
I saw
people-
that.
Fat women are literally making their purchasing decisions for their household based on if they're ratioing Putin or not, right? We have OnlyFans. Russia's blameless OnlyFans stars say they've been banned after Putin's invasion of Ukraine. And OnlyFans does this thing where they say they're going to do something. They do it for like 2 days, like when they said they were going to ban porn, and then they reverse it. They reversed it this time. OnlyFans is the ultimate centrist company because they have no fucking...
They have no
balls.
opinions.
They don't
They have
stick
no
in.
opinions.
We're gonna do something drastic.
I
JK.
think it is always good to see OnlyFans thoughts cry.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
I
that.
mean that's the ones I pay for.
I honestly respect it because they're making their users feel like really scared and afraid and shitty and experience like existential dread. But then they ultimately allow them to keep using the platform, and it's funny.
It is funny.
It's just a joke, bro.
After they banned the Russians on here, the average weight of an OnlyFans star probably went up like 30 pounds. Like you can't ban Russian women off it. All you're gonna have is fat women after that. Your market is gonna both shrink and expand simultaneously. You can't do that. Other companies that have banned Russian users are Microsoft. Microsoft suspends new sales in Russia, which I think is hilarious because Russians pirate everything. They've lost like $10 in revenue by doing this. None of them are buying Microsoft products. Are you fucking kidding me? The United Nations of Cat Federations bans Russian cats from its competitors, and there's a picture of a big Chungus cat in a little cat pack backpack. He's looking all sad because he knows that he didn't tell Putin to go invade Ukraine. He's just a good boy. He's a heckin' good boy, and the United Nations of Cat Federations, they're banning him from competing. He has nothing left to live for.
On a more serious note, I want to inform the audience that this kind of like insanity is not limited to like the corporate response to a war. Like this kind of precedent could lead to in the future, like say some country decides they're gonna, I don't know, tell like gay people that they can't, adopt children or something like that.
That
You
they
could
can't
have in
have
that,
butt sex in public.
yeah, or something, extreme like that, something extreme and oppressive like that. And, you could have the international community impose sanctions. You could have multinational corporations say, we're not going to do business with X, Y, and Z country. We're just seeing it now because it's a spooky, scary wartime scenario. But like realistically, they could do this over anything at any time.
That's actually a very good point, Micah. But to play devil's advocate, to
Case.
the other side of the coin, is that necessarily a bad thing? We
I
have
didn't say it was. I didn't say it was.
Right. Okay, that's fair. We have our wonderful corporations, many of which are based here in America and in the Western world at large, and we're standing up to these shithole countries and telling them, hey, you will live up to our idea of Western values, or we're just going to make it more impossible than it already was for you to reach a certain level of prosperity. And that's really one of the most effective ways, I think, that we can stand up for our Western values around the world.
Fucking gatekeeping capitalism.
Exactly.
Literally.
Gatekeeping is base. That is a Grillcast stance we've taken from the beginning. Gatekeeping is a good thing. So, I want to thank our brave multinational corporations for showing just how much they care about Ukraine and care about us.
You really showed those Russian civilians.
Now, before, yeah, you really showed them. That's what you get for doing a heckin' fascism, baby. Now,
way to live in the wrong country.
Now, we could solve this by just, having a one world government. Then we wouldn't have to worry about this sort of thing.
True.
Before we go, Micah, I know you have to get out of here. I want to talk about the last thing that I've been noticing about the whole Ukraine situation that's been really annoying is our expert geopolitic guys on Twitter and on Reddit and stuff talking about Putin,
Like me.
and his invasion, and just saying, oh, the reason he did it, it's because he's insane, bro. He's just insane, dude. Like Vladimir Putin's just like standing there like, ah ha 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 ha. Yes, I hate democracy. I hate the West. I want to install the heckin' fascism right now. Ah, ha, 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 ha. I'm literally insane. I don't know what I'm doing. I literally just send mini troop in and we all die. I could not possibly have seen this coming. Ah, you know? It's
Yeah.
amazing to see people like try and psychoanalyze him and get into his mind and be like, well, I've known him for a long time. I think I have a valid opinion here because I definitely know what he's talking about, and I in my opinion, I think that he's just crazy and loopy.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the way I see it, it just doesn't make any sense why you would do this. I mean, mainly because I have absolutely no understanding of the the politics, the geopolitics involved in the situation, or the history surrounding the borders of the two countries, or the military alliances going on there, and so forth. But I just have this feeling that he's just he's stark mad.
I am Vladimir Putin. I just want to kill gay people. I just hate gay people. This is why I'm doing this. And I hate Black Lives Matter. I want to kill them too. And this is why I'm doing this. I'm just literally insane. I think that that's
Yeah.
more
I mean,
realistic.
yeah. I mean, like, I think I explained it a little bit earlier in the show. Like, they do have, everyone's the good guy in their own mind. And Vladimir Putin, albeit, you could make the case that he's insane, whatever. You could say that absolute power corrupts, absolutely. And he definitely has his reasons for doing what he's doing. He, in his mind, Russia is standing up to the West. Like I said, Ukraine is the largest country on the European continent, with the exception of Russia itself, and shares a large border with Russia, and was being more and more influenced by the West. And he saw
Now,
that as,
I
and
think
he
what it
sees that
is
as
that
sees that as a threat.
he hates freedom. It's just like
Yeah,
Afghanistan.
yep, he
They
hates
hate
freedom.
freedom.
Yep.
You're right.
He hates
They're
freedom.
terrorists. They hate freedom, and we have to kill them, or otherwise freedom's just going to go away, and democracy is going to destroy democracy. I don't like that nuanced take. I don't like the considerations of, years of history and whatnot. There's good guy, there's bad guy, and I'm always right. My Grillas, this has been the Grillcast. Thanks for listening. Tune back next week, or maybe in a couple weeks. Who fucking knows these days? Peace out, my Grillas.
I'm old as a boomer. My mind said on Zoomer. Everything cooler, long as I'm not Laura Loomer. If you think I'm not number one, I done spelled that rumor. Hit that victory royale on some motherfucking coochie. Default dance on a bitch. Hit the default dance on a bitch. Floss dance while I'm flossing in a whip. Victory royale when that chopper hit. Self-incrimination, I have no participation. News keep asking, I don't say shit. You can't have my conversation.
War.